Hello everyone! As the title of the video suggests, today I'm going to be going over something really exciting. So recently I was reworking some of my own portfolios, and I was holding a bit of a cash position right before this most recent correction, and I thought it would be really fun to take the portion of my portfolio I would typically invest in smaller caps and try and make it its own thing for the Microcap Mania Portfolio to invest in microcaps. And of course, this is going to be taking the recommendations that I've already given, such as my very first episode of Microcap Mania with Snail Games, and then of course Sega Technologies, which I both gave buy recommendations. And really, we're just going to try and see what I can find in terms of the microcap space. So really quickly, I'm going to run through kind of a IPS sort of thing for the Microcap Mania portfolio, just to let you guys know what's going to be going on from here on out, and kind of how I'm going to set up this portfolio and how we're going to keep it updated. So the starting amount of my portfolio is going to be 500 US dollars. Again, I'm a college student, so it's not going to be anything super excitingly large to start. Hopefully, we can grow that over time, and potentially, I'll try and add some more of my own money and allocate more of that to microcap investing. But it's important for me to have a large portion still in my steady Roth IRA and in larger caps. So for this portfolio, we're going to be starting at 500 US dollars. For weighting, how I'm going to be viewing this is each of the recommendations I give on a stock, I'm going to be trying to have a position at minimum take up 3% of the portfolio and maybe cap out at around 8%. And so these figures are really just going to be for the start, for when I actually place in those investments. I'm going to try and give them time and allow them to grow, so I won't trim them if I invest 8% in a certain stock and then it goes above and beyond and really excels. I won't trim that and not try and eliminate that growth. I also won't necessarily be pouring more money into positions if I set it at 3% of the portfolio and maybe short term it's not doing as well as I want to, unless I really believe the fundamentals of the company or the thesis itself has actually improved, and then we'll revisit that position in a different episode and kind of talk about what's changed with those positions. So again, I will give room for growth. Now, going over the actual investment time horizons for the theses, I tend to think of myself more as an investor than a trader, and so it's really important for me that all of these investment theses are focused around long-term compounding and actually trying to create value in the portfolio. So each investment I have will be held a minimum of 1 year. That's if I don't like the company, unless I've given myself some wiggle room if there's any major scandals or anything, or there's absolutely terrible decision making coming from management. Maybe they're getting controversial CEOs in there. Maybe the decisions they're making are going against what's beneficial to the investors and the business itself, and I absolutely hate the directions. I'm not just going to sign up to lose money necessarily, but again, that's going to be in very rare instances. If I'm committing to a company and committing to giving a buy recommendation, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and try and focus on long-term investing. So typically, I want to try and shoot for 3 to 5 year minimums if I feel confident in that company, in that investment opportunity, and in that management team. So again, focusing more on long-term theses and investment ideas, and so I can really focus in on compounding and all the things that are critical to doing well in investing. Now, all of the companies I'll be putting in the portfolio will come from the past Microsoft, or not Microsoft, the past Microcap Mania episodes. God, I just invested in Microsoft earlier. That's why I was thinking about it. But again, all of the recommendations will come from the previous Microcap Mania episodes and any future episodes. So really, any buy recommendations I give, I at the end of that Microcap Mania episode, if it clears all of the hurdles, and I want to be a bit stringent just to make sure that they are quality investments. If they jump all of the hurdles and I really like what I see, I'll tell you, the viewer, what percentage of the portfolio it's going to take up if it's earned a spot in the portfolio, and I'll be again trying to set that on the watch list and trying to buy that at an opportune time. So there's not necessarily going to be an immediate, if I really really love a company and I want to be invested in it, but let's say it had a very very expensive run up in the past few weeks and it's not at the best valuation, I might wait a bit with it on the watch list to see if I can try and get it at a better, more opportune price. But other than that, I'm going to definitely be investing in all of the companies I give buy recommendations on, and kind of saying what even makes a spot in the watch list. I don't just want to put every company I cover in the watch list either. I want to be very stringent and again put my money with quality teams that I believe can grow my capital. Now, going over the specifics of the companies I'll be investing in, the companies at the time of purchase must be a microcap. So again, that's going to be 50 million market cap to 300 million market cap. However, I'm going to give myself a little bit of wiggle room if the companies are borders on that. So let's say something is just in nano cap, maybe sometimes depending on the day it's a micro cap and then it goes back and forth, but I really like it, I'll allow myself to invest in that. Or again, on the other side, if something's just above the 300 million market cap and it keeps on flip-flopping back and forth and I really like that, then I will add that to the portfolio. Now, additionally, unlike an ETF that would be fully focused on microcaps, if a company I invest in at the time is a microcap and then years down the line it booms and grows and becomes a small cap, maybe a mid cap, if we ever get into a position like that, I'm not necessarily going to force sell. I may trim the position a bit unless the fundamentals are still really good, but there's not going to be any forced selling because at the end of the day, by investing in microcaps, we are trying to invest in future growth and we are trying to find those one needle in the haystack companies that can explode and give us really, really good capital growth. Now, again, I kind of already covered this, but if one company explodes and becomes the majority of our portfolio, we may decide to trim the position unless the fundamentals really remain strong. That probably won't happen. It'll be a definite good if it does happen, but we probably won't get into a position where we start at an 8% and then it suddenly becomes this humongous thing unless I accidentally uncover the next Nvidia and then I'm going to be Warren Buffett. That's just how that's going to go. And then finally, I'm going to try and give updates every so often on the portfolio itself, not just on individual recommendations. So I haven't figured out a timeline yet. Potentially it could be quarterly to be in line with most financial institutions, or it could be monthly or whatever. Really just anytime something exciting is going on with the portfolio, I'll make sure to update and let everyone know how that's going. So again, thank you for joining in on this episode. I know this is a little bit different, but I'm really excited to get this portfolio going so that we can actually kind of track how my recommendations are going and see if I can actually generate revenue and generate performance with those and maybe even outperform some indexes. So again, thank you very much, and I look forward to catching you on the next Microcap Mania.